perception that a great orator, a great speaker has this presence and this flawless polish, and it's not true. The best speakers are gritty and muddy and authentic and uh they say like and they mess up and then they go, oh no, sorry, what I mean is that it's real. They're real. They're so real. You think about like singers like Tom Waits. I don't know but like Tom Waits was a singer in like I think 70s, 80s, maybe more. And he has this like really thick, scratchy growl of voice. And he very successful singer. He's an actor. Like he's done so many amazing things. Like somebody taps into that voice and goes, I like that. So someone's gonna like your voice. It doesn't have to be polished and perfect. It just has to be like real, conversational. And that's something that we work on, right? Is like how to get all that energy, just like I did, all that energy, and make it real, make it authentic. Because when you're authentic, people buy in. If you're like a little bit off or like you're a little bit doubtful, they're like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. There's a distance there, right? But when you're able to embrace, because I'm always surprised by, I just thought I was annoying, but like people seem to really like it on stage when I'm my energetic, over the top self. So all that to say, you don't have to be the greatest showman. You don't have to be polished. You don't have to. I always say like Andrea Bocelli or Sarah Brightman or like someone like, oh, you don't have to. Just be you. Put yourself out there, and we will work with you on how to be real, like on stage and conversational, so it doesn't look scripted.
Yeah, definitely. Like all that you said, and you said something about, you worked on dimming your personality just to fit a little bit better. But then by doing that, like, and that's also what we teach is that you are preventing other people that are exactly like you would relate to the real you to actually tap into your energy and power and influence, right? And so like you've learned with time that hey, I'm going to be myself no matter what. And I think that also when people dare to do that, then the people around them and the people they attract are their people. Because when you're trying to be someone that you're not, or when you're trying to dim a little bit because you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I go all in, people are gonna like me. Okay, but what about the moment where you'll be all in, like all yourself, and then you realize, okay, the people I'm around are not my people, and then you'll be like, oh my God, I need to start all over again, or I made this bad choice like a few months or a few years ago. And I think they talk about that in relationships also, like how people have to be real like the first time. Because if you're trying to meet your lifetime soulmate and you're just putting an act at the beginning, then you'll have to put on that act for 25, 30, 40 years. At a certain point, I guess it will become exhausting. As if you dare to be yourself, then sometimes it might take longer time. And I'm not talking only about relationship, but also business, also work, also like the people you want to collaborate with or be around. It might take a longer time, or I don't know, because your uniqueness, well, first of all, you have to embrace it and show it fully. And then when you do that, of course, like the right people are gonna come. I strongly believe in that. But yeah, you're right that in the speaking industry, sometimes it's kind of like you have to put on a show or you have to bring this persona on stage, right? I know that they talk about I've read this book from what's the name of the book again? I forgot the name of the book, but it was talking about that other persona that you can have either like on stage or some artists have it like they're someone else when they are on stage. And then the book was also saying that at a certain point, like you have to become that person. If you feel like this is who you aspire to become and you do the work, eventually, like you won't need to be that persona. Like you are that persona. And it's no persona anymore. It's you. And I remember that at that point, at that specific period where I was reading the book, I was still like doubting myself a lot, or I was not at that level of confidence I am today. And there was a tip in the book that you needed to wear something that reminds you to get into that skin of that person that you want to become, right? So more self-confident, like, attracting the people I wanted to attract, like do business with whatsoever. So I would have like, I had bought a special ring, and each time I would like see it, I would remember, oh yeah, this is the person I aspire to be. And if it was an important meeting and stuff like that, until I don't wear that ring again. I don't need it. I don't need it because I've accessed that level of confidence that I was aspiring to, and that that I was working on. But but yeah, like the whole thing is about who you're embracing and who you're showing up as. I think that's the most important thing. And now I see that I've been speaking for like 4 minutes.
That's
Woo!
that's perfect because that's everything you said is so succinct and I love it. Like, it's a huge point that you're making. I think this is really like the core. This is a great way to explain this. To explain, so I definitely, excuse me. There's so much value in creating a, a vision of yourself as the optimal speaker. What I'm saying is, I think be cautious of it being someone else that you're comparing yourself to, right? So like I use the example of like The Greatest Showman, the Hugh Jackman movie, that to me I was like, I want to be that polished and perfect and good looking and everything, every note is awesome and and as an entertainer, I'm much sloppier, I'm much more energetic, and I'm much more free flowing, and I do a lot of crowd work. And I wasn't able to get to that without actually the way I started as an entertainer. I emceed first. I emceed for years, where I didn't have to write material. I was just on stage, emceeing events, and then like Miss Illinois pageant, all these things. And I had a script that was like the starting point, and then I would riff, I would improvise with the audience, and that worked really well. But at a certain point, I was like, I'm missing. I need to share. I want to write something, but I had a
Mhm.
block. I had so much fear and doubt, so much insecurity as a performer that, and I wasn't originally talented. Like I wasn't the best actor growing up. It took me years to understand acting, and then I finally did, and I started booking work, and then like life took me a certain path, and so. But with straight up speaking and entertaining and stand up and all that stuff, it took me years. And what really got me to feel comfortable and to learn how to write for myself was I created a character, a sketch character that
Mhm.
I would perform at comedy clubs. And I talk about this all the time with clients where it was a mask. I would put on a wig, I'd put on a costume, I'd bring my guitar, I'd start singing. And then this character like this character was actually based on the performers that I really liked that I wish I was. So it was the extreme opposite of what I'm saying because this character, which I still sometimes perform, um, he was smoother, he talked slower. He was based on my favorite singer, Neil Diamond, who himself is a very shy person, but created this persona. And oh my goodness. And just taking and it got me in the habit of taking my time, which was the opposite of what I do naturally. But it got to the point over years and years of doing it, and especially when my marriage started failing, and I had personal stuff to really share that I broke free of the character. But that character was a great way to ground and to practice and to learn how to do all the things. But to really it was so extreme that it forced me to build a muscle that I didn't know I needed, which was the muscle of
Mhm.
control and the muscle of
Mhm.
stillness. Once I
Mhm.
had that, I was able to go like and explode as myself. And like as of 2018, it's 2024 right now. So for 6 years now, I haven't performed solely as that character because I want to be me. So it's like doing that, coming up with a persona, as long as you're not like, oh, I'm going to be that person and you try to really be that person and it looks awful, don't do that. But if you're like, there's aspects of it that I want to bring into my vision of what I want to be, talk this way or look this way. Try that, and then eventually step back from it, right? Like, so
Yep.
try it. Like I want to be polished. Okay, well, and then see if you're trying to be polished, does that fit? No, it doesn't. But speaking this way does, or talking about or organizing my thoughts this way does, right? So finding those bits and pieces that really work, and then stepping off from it and then that's how you embody it. You like try it, you force it, you like figure it out, like, oh, that's a little bit out of my range, it's hurting my voice, like, oh, it's a little too low for me, it's a little too this, figuring out what it is that really fits day after day. And then I had a voice teacher used to say a quarter or less effort. Now just back off a quarter or less effort, make it natural, make it easy, just like, does it fit, does it, oh yeah, is it comfortable, you know what, this is comfortable, because at the end of the day you're going to be up there and someone's going to ask you a question that you don't know the answer to, or you're going to be performing on video and someone's going to write a nasty comment while you're performing, and you have to be able to adapt and be elastic. And I think when there's less tension and there's more honesty, you can be like, such a great question. You know what? Let me address that actually real quick, right? You, as opposed to being tense and like, ah, ah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I love everything that you said. And what it made me think of is any aspect of our lives where we want to become better. There's a part of discomfort. There's a part of like sometimes painful pain. Because you need to test it out, as you said. And sometimes like you test it out and you realize, oh, this is not for me, or you test it out and you're like, wait a minute, like I didn't know. I didn't know that was within me, and I could use that as something powerful or as some parts of, what I want to share with my audience. So yeah, I agree with that. I mean, we agree on a lot of things, Ron.